My beloved child, open your soul wide and receive what I am preparing. For what is coming to you is not a fleeting moment that appears and vanishes like a gentle breeze at the end of the day. I am leading you into a harvest season greater than anything you once dared to hope for. Your days of dryness have not been forgotten. I have seen it all. I saw you kneel in prayer when your heart was almost empty. I saw you keep walking, even when your feet were weary from waiting. I saw you still choose to believe even when the doors around you closed, one after another. And my child, none of it is useless before me. Those who sow in tears shall reap with joy. As it is written in Psalm 126:5, you thought those tears had disappeared into dry ground. But in truth, I use them to water the seeds of miracles. There are things I do silently beneath the dark soil that your eyes cannot yet see. A seed does not die when it is buried. It is preparing for new life. In the same way, the seasons that seem most silent in your life are the very places where I am preparing an abundant harvest. My beloved child, the new season I am bringing is not merely a few faint rays of light after the storm. I am speaking of a rain of grace pouring down upon your life in a way that will make you realize my hand has never left you. I will open doors that no human strength can shut. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. As it is written in Revelation 3:8, there are places you once thought you would never be able to enter, but I will lead you through by my own power. There are fears that once held you back for many years, but I will lift you out of that land and set you upon the high ground of peace. But my child, remember this deeply in your heart. Blessings are not given only for you to keep for yourself. I do not fill your life so that the water may be trapped inside a closed vessel. I want you to become a river flowing out to the dry souls around you. When I heal you, it is also so that you may know how to lift others up. When I comfort you, it is so that you may know how to be gentle with broken hearts. When I forgive you, it is so that you may learn how to forgive. For true light does not exist to shine only upon itself. Light is created to guide those who are lost in the darkness of night. Remember the story of the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. What he held in his hands was so small before the hungry crowd. But when he offered it to me with trust, I made it abundant enough for thousands. My beloved child, the blessing I place in your life is the same. What I give you will multiply when you open your heart to share it with love and compassion. Therefore, hold firmly to your faith. Faith is not a key to force me to do according to your will. Faith is the hand that holds on to me even when you do not yet understand the road ahead. Faith is not born from everything being easy, but from your choice to keep believing when everything is shaking. Remember Peter on the sea. The wind and waves did not disappear when he stepped out, but he was able to stand as long as his eyes remained fixed on the Lord. My child, the foundation that keeps you standing has never been stable circumstances. That foundation has always been me. My child, faith is not an emotion that comes and goes like the tide. It is a choice made each day. There will be mornings when you wake with a heart full of peace. There will also be nights when you pray in the midst of weariness and doubt. But every time you still choose to believe, even with only a weak breath. All of heaven sees it. For I am not looking for flawless perfection in you. I am looking for a heart that trusts me enough to keep walking. There are things drawing closer than you think. I am preparing a new chapter for your life, not with loud noise, but like the gentle breath of dawn appearing after a long night. A new season does not always begin with thunder and lightning. Many times, it comes quietly, like a young sprout pushing through hard soil, unnoticed until the field suddenly turns green. Therefore today, my beloved child, prepare your heart. Let your spirit stay awake, like a night watchman waiting for the dawn. Keep your eyes fixed on me, instead of continually looking back at what has passed. Believe that something good is drawing nearer than you imagine. And when the time comes, you will realize that not one of your prayers has been forgotten. Not one season of waiting has been meaningless. Because throughout that entire journey, I have been quietly leading you toward the harvest of grace and restoration. My beloved child, listen deeply in this silence, for I am calling you back, not with anger, but with mercy that has never changed. There is still time for you to return. Do not let the darkness convince you that you have gone too far, or that your soul has become too hardened to hear my voice anymore. My child, what has been threatened has never been my love for you, because that love does not depend on your strength or weakness. My love is still there, just as the sun still exists behind thick layers of cloud. What you are slowly losing is only the ability to feel its warmth when your heart is covered by the noise of the world. I have never stopped speaking to you, but too many sounds have crowded into the quiet place I wanted to reserve for your soul. Worries, pressures, and voices of fear and disappointment have made your heart weary. You began running from one thing to another in search of peace. But the more you ran, the farther your soul drifted from the true source of peace. My beloved child, I am not in that chaos. I am still waiting for you in the place of stillness, just as Elijah heard that I was not in the strong wind, nor in the earthquake or the great fire, but in a gentle whisper, as it is written in 1 Kings 19:12. Only a soul that knows how to become still can recognize that sound. So today, stop. Release the hands that are trying to control everything you cannot hold on your own. Let your mind stop chasing the things that are draining your peace. Sit before me like a weary child returning to his father after a long journey. You do not need to bring me a perfect version of yourself. You only need to come to me with an honest heart. Say to me, Lord, restore my heart, my beloved child. When you speak those words with sincerity, the dim veil covering your soul will begin to dissolve. My light will pass through the heavy clouds you thought could never be pierced. And then you will realize that my voice has never been far away. It is as near to you as your breath, nearer than the heartbeat within your chest. I do not speak to you in order to condemn you. If I wanted to accuse you, I would not continue calling your name with such tenderness. I come to rescue you. I do not bring up old mistakes to shame you, but to show you the way out of the darkness that is imprisoning your soul. My child, I remember the days when you once walked in the light with a simple heart and complete trust. I remember the prayers you once offered with your whole soul, and I want to bring you back to that place where your mind is no longer divided by too many voices, and where your soul can rest in my presence. Darkness does not always steal blessings by taking everything out of your hands. Many times, it only needs to make you forget that you were once blessed. It causes you to see only what is lacking and no longer recognize the things I have quietly been protecting around you. It makes you question my guidance and begin relying completely on your own limited understanding. But my beloved child, there are things your soul can only understand when you become still before me. Remember Mary when she sat at the feet of Jesus while Martha was busy with so many tasks. Martha believed her busyness was the most important thing. But Mary chose the better portion. She chose to remain in his presence. My child, I do not condemn your efforts, but I do not want you to trade away your soul by chasing every call of the world while forgetting the gentle calling of heaven. So today, return to that holy stillness. Turn off the noise that distracts your heart. Let your soul rest in me. Do not fear silence, because many times it is within that quietness that I am healing the things words cannot touch. It is there that you will hear my voice again, not as the voice of a stranger, but as the familiar voice of a father who has always stood waiting for you to come home. My beloved child, tonight let your soul grow quiet before my presence. For in the unseen realm there are movements taking place that natural eyes cannot see. Heaven has not fallen asleep over your pain. My angels are moving through the deepest hidden places of your life, not only through the house where you live, but through every room of your spirit, where memories remain that you have never dared to open again, where old tears still silently fall in the night, where you once prayed until exhaustion and then quietly fell silent. They are working with the gentleness of heaven, not through loud noises or terrifying signs, but through touches as soft as the morning wind. There are invisible burdens I am lifting from your shoulders at this very hour, things you have carried for so long that you began to believe they were part of your destiny. But my child, I never intended for you to live forever beneath the heavy yoke of the past. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. As written in 1 Peter 5:7, I am teaching you to release what you have tried to carry alone for far too long. The wounds you thought had already healed are also being touched by me once again. There are memories you believed you had forgotten, but in truth, they still smolder deep within your soul, silently shaping the way you see yourself. I see the old voices that once made you doubt your worth. I see the nights you lay awake because of accusations spoken not by anyone else, but by your own heart against yourself. But my beloved child, I am silencing those echoes. I am wiping away the dust of sorrow from your soul so that you may see yourself through the light of grace instead of through the darkness of pain. Heaven is restoring order within your life. This does not always happen through loud outward changes, but through the re-establishment of peace within. A deep healing is beginning in your mind, where thoughts once filled with chaos will gradually be replaced by the clarity of the Holy Spirit. I am drawing your soul back into the place of peace, where you are no longer ruled by what your eyes see or by the circumstances around you, but anchored instead in what faith knows to be true. My beloved child, I am restoring within you the ability to recognize my voice. For too many years, countless voices have crowded in: the voice of fear, the voice of pressure, the voice of disappointment, the voice of the world. But I am making the ears of your heart sensitive once again to my presence. Just as Samuel in the temple learned to recognize the call in the middle of the night, I am also teaching you to discern my voice among the many others. Samuel, that call was not only for the young boy long ago, but also for your soul today. And you will learn to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." God says that after tonight, you will begin to see change. But understand this: the greatest miracle is not always an immediate change of circumstances. The deepest miracle is when your soul is renewed. When healing begins within you, everything else gradually returns to its rightful place. A heart filled with light will no longer be ruled by the darkness outside it. A soul united with me will carry peace even in the midst of the storm. Remember Ezekiel when he stood before the valley of dry bones. Human eyes saw only death and desolation. But when my spirit breathed upon them, those bones rose again as a mighty army. My child, there have been places in your life that became just as dry. Dreams, joy, and peace once lay motionless like dry bones in the valley of memory. But I am the God of resurrection. When my breath passes through, life will return again. And then you will realize that when your soul becomes one with me, the world around you also begins to change. Not because you control every circumstance, but because the light within you becomes stronger than the darkness outside you. When you walk in communion with the Creator, your words will no longer sound like hopeless echoes. They will carry life, peace, and the power of faith. Therefore tonight, my beloved child, rest in me. Do not try to understand everything happening in the unseen realm. Simply know that heaven is working upon your life with gentle and faithful love. And when the dawn comes, Your circumstances around you may not yet be completely different, but you will sense that something within your soul has begun to come alive again, lighter, brighter, and closer to me than ever before. My beloved child, what is taking place in your life is not merely a passing awakening, nor only a few comforting words for a weary night. This is the hour of restoration that I am carrying out within your soul. An old season is slowly closing like the sun setting beyond the horizon, and a new chapter is being opened by my own hand. There are things I am removing from your life, not because I desire to take from you, but because I am preparing the foundation for something greater. I did not come merely to calm the storm around you. I came to teach you how to stand firm in the midst of strong winds without losing your peace. For so long, you have asked me to remove every trial. But my child, there are lessons that can only be deeply engraved when you learn to walk through the storm with your eyes still fixed on me. I do not only want to remove fear from your heart, I want to give you spiritual authority to look directly at fear and still refuse to be ruled by it. For the light I placed within you was not created to tremble before darkness, but to drive it away. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. As written in 2 Timothy 1:7, my child, I am awakening that very thing within you. You are no longer in the old land. You may not yet recognize it with your natural eyes, but your soul is stepping into a new space of grace. Before, you only sought moments of being touched by my presence, but now I want that presence to dwell within you like a flame that does not go out. I do not want you to live only by occasional visits of peace. I want my peace to become the foundation for every thought and every step you take. Tomorrow morning, when you wake, everything around you may still look the same. Work may still be waiting. Problems may not disappear immediately. Some trials may still stand there like mountains that have not yet moved. But my beloved child, the most important thing has already begun to change, and that is you. I am placing within your heart a new rhythm, the rhythm of restored hope. You will no longer be driven by panic whenever the future is unclear. You will begin to walk with a quiet certainty that even when you cannot see the whole road, I am still holding everything. Remember the disciples on the Sea of Galilee during the great storm. The violent waves made them afraid, thinking everything was about to end. But Jesus stood up in the midst of the raging wind and said, "Peace, be still," and the sea immediately became calm. My child, the great thing was not only that the storm was silenced, but that the disciples realized who was with them in the boat. I am teaching you the same thing. Your true safety is not found in the absence of storms, but in the fact that I am with you in the storm. Do not take tonight lightly, for spiritual works are being completed that your own strength could never accomplish. My angels are carrying out what I have commanded in the unseen realm. They are rebuilding spiritual walls around your soul and your family. They are opening the way for my light to go deep into the places that were covered by darkness for too long. There are sighs I am turning into a new breath of hope. There are barren places in your soul that I am watering again with the river of life. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. As written in Psalm 34:7, my beloved child, heaven has never abandoned you in your battle. Even when you thought you were alone in the dark night, I was still covering you with protection that natural eyes cannot see. I am preparing your soul for a new season, a season of deeper growth, clearer vision, and more enduring peace. Not the fragile peace that comes from everything going smoothly, but peace rooted in my unchanging presence. What I am building in you now will not easily be torn down by the winds of life, because I am establishing it on the rock of mature faith. Therefore today, my beloved child, lift up your head. Do not see yourself as someone defeated by life, but as someone I am preparing for something greater. An old season is truly coming to an end, and the new chapter I am opening for you will not be written with fear, but with light, steadfastness, and a hope that no storm can extinguish. My beloved child, do not think that everything has already been determined to the point that your prayers no longer matter. In my kingdom, even lines that seem written in the darkest ink can still be redirected by a soul that kneels in humility and perseverance. There are dark clouds gathering that may seem impossible to stop, yet they dissolve because of the sincere groaning of one who still trusts in me. Never underestimate the power of intercession offered with a whole heart. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. As written in James 5:16, my child, heaven is never indifferent to the cry of a soul that seeks me. There are times when I allow stumbling, sickness, lack, or battles to knock at the door of your life, not because I delight in seeing you suffer, but because the human soul sometimes only stops long enough to listen when the alarm bell begins to ring. People often fall asleep during seasons of comfort, yet difficult days cause the roots of faith to grow deeper into the soil of prayer. My beloved child, do not see those trials as gravestones marking the end. See them instead as milestones along the journey of your soul's maturity. They are not carved into stone as an unchangeable destiny. They are invitations to return closer to me and rewrite the story of your life with wisdom from above. Do not believe the lie that says, everything will always remain the same. No, my child, I am unchanging, but I created you with the power of choice and response. Every decision you make in the light carries weight in the unseen realm. Every time you surrender instead of rebel. Every time you forgive instead of hold bitterness. Every time you choose faith instead of giving in to despair, you are redirecting part of the story that darkness wanted to write over your life. Do you realize that the way you live today does not affect only your own life? The seeds you sow in silence are growing for generations yet to come. A quiet prayer you offer tonight may become shade for people you have never even met. One act of obedience today may prevent pain tomorrow. One truly repentant heart can break the cycle of wounds that has passed through your family line for many years. Therefore, never despise the small things I place before you. My beloved child, every time you keep your heart pure in this chaotic world, you are lighting a lamp in the unseen realm. Every time you choose kindness when you have every reason to become bitter, my light shines even more strongly through you. And that light has the power to tear apart the veils of deception the enemy has built for so long. There are miracles trying to find their way into your life, but they require a heart willing to walk in truth and trust. Perhaps ahead of you are fiery turns like gold being tested in the furnace. Perhaps you will walk through seasons where everything seems to burn away the last of your strength. But remember, my child, the fire in the hands of the refiner is not kindled to destroy the gold. It is used to purify it. What people think will cause you to fall, I can transform into the cornerstone of your destiny. What the enemy intended to crush your soul, I can open into a doorway leading you into the strongest place of your life. Remember Joseph in the prison. The years of betrayal and abandonment seemed like meaningless injustice. Yet it was there that I was preparing him for the position that would save an entire nation. If Joseph had looked only at his circumstances, he would have thought I was silent. But I never took my eyes off him for even a single moment. My beloved child, your life is the same. There are chapters you do not understand today. But one day you will look back and realize that the most painful roads were the very places where I was quietly building the deepest strength within your soul. And if that difficult turn still comes even after you have prayed, done what is right, and surrendered the leadership of your life to me, do not rush to conclude that I have not heard you. There are lessons that can only be born when you truly walk through the valley, not when you stand at a distance observing it. Even beloved Jesus passed through the Garden of Gethsemane before entering the glory of resurrection. He sweat as though drops of blood in that dark night. Yet I never left him, and I will not leave you either. There are storms I calm immediately, but there are also winds I do not remove because I want to hold your hand and walk with you through them. My child, do not measure the Father's love by how smooth the road feels. Measure it by how near I am to you in the middle of the battle. And I say to you today, never once have you walked through fire without me being there. Never once have you cried in the night without heaven listening. Never has there been a season of your life outside the keeping power of my love. My beloved child, not for a single second have my eyes turned away from your life. There were nights when you believed you were walking alone through the deepest darkness. But even when you could not feel my presence, my hand was still holding you. If you must pass through the fire, remember that the furnace is not empty. Just as the 3 Hebrew men walked through the flames without being burned because a 4th figure stood with them in the furnace, I am also with you in the midst of trials that seem ready to swallow your soul. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. As written in Isaiah 43:2, my child, if you are wading through rushing waters of pain and unrest, know that there is still a shore on the other side, and I will lead your feet safely there. You will come out of this season no longer the same person you once were. You will be stronger in the hidden places no one can see. You will become more discerning toward the things that once caused you to lose your way. And above all, you will be closer to me than ever before. For in my hands, nothing is wasted. I am the one who restores the years that seemed lost, who pieces together shattered lives, and who rebuilds even the smallest parts you believed no longer had value. There are things you call ruins that I call the materials for the next miracle. My beloved child, I value your character more than temporary comfort. I see the destiny I have placed upon your life as greater than the fleeting sense of peace the world promises. There are treasures of the soul that only emerge under pressure. Patience does not grow during days when everything is easy. Gentleness does not mature in places without friction. Perseverance and deep compassion are often born in the midst of resistance and tears. This is not punishment. It is the training of love. A farmer does not keep a tree forever inside a greenhouse if he wants it to become strong enough to stand against powerful winds. I am preparing you in the same way. There are days when you feel as though you are being pulled out of your comfort zone. But in truth, I am enlarging your soul so it can carry what I am about to entrust to you. And when you place all those experiences into my hands with trust instead of bitterness, your wounds will no longer remain only painful memories. They will become living testimonies of my faithfulness through the years. Do not take my correction lightly, my child, for the Lord disciplines the one he loves. As written in Hebrews 12:6, I do not redirect your path to shame you, but to awaken you from roads that could lead your soul toward depths you cannot yet see today. There are small compromises you believe are harmless, but I can see the long chain of consequences behind them. Because I love you, I speak. Because I love you, I restrain you. If I remained silent while you drifted far from the light without warning you, that would be the truly fearful thing. But as long as you can still hear my voice calling you back, my love is still fighting for your soul. A season of testing and refinement is coming, but do not let that make you afraid. I do not test you in order to find failure within you. I test you to reveal the treasure I placed inside you long ago, a treasure even you have not yet fully recognized. Gold does not know its own value until it passes through the fire. And many times, your soul also does not realize how strong it truly is until it must stand firm in the storm while still continuing to trust me. You are stronger than you think, not because of your own strength, but because the Almighty One dwells within you. You are more courageous than your feelings tell you. because I have already gone before you on every road. You are more equipped than your eyes can see, because the weapons I give do not belong to the flesh. Put on the full armor of God. As written in Ephesians 6:11, I have placed within you the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, and the sword of my word, so that you do not enter the battle empty-handed. My beloved child, do not let trials define you. The things that happen to you are not your true identity. What truly marks your name is how you respond in the midst of those trials. When you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, you reflect my light. When you continue loving in the middle of pain, heaven sees my image within you. When you still pray in the dark night, you are declaring that darkness does not have the final word. And here is the wonder of my love. I give you freedom, yet I also give you the power to choose the light. I do not force you to walk, but I invite you to take my hand, so that together we may rewrite the ending of your story, not through panic, not through the frantic running of fear, but through steady, faithful steps beside me. Therefore today, my beloved child, keep walking. If you must pass through the fire, I will be in the fire with you. If you must go through deep waters, I will keep you from drowning. And one day, when you stand on the other side and look back, you will understand that everything which once seemed determined to destroy you had actually become the very tools I used to build a soul stronger, purer, and more radiant than ever before. My beloved child, do not rush ahead of me in anxiety, and do not lag behind because of fear and doubt. What I desire from you is not the haste of the flesh, but a rhythm of walking together with me. There will be seasons when I tell you to rise and act with courage, but there will also be seasons when I teach you to be still and wait like a field resting quietly beneath the night rain. My child, wisdom is not found in always moving forward quickly, but in learning to walk in step with my voice. When it is time to act, I will speak clearly into your soul, and when it is time to wait, I will whisper with a peace that surpasses all understanding. You do not need to see the entire map of your life in order to keep moving forward. If I revealed every turn of the road to your eyes at once, your heart would become fearful of things not yet come. What you need is not to know exactly how everything will happen, but to know who is holding your hand and leading you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. As written in Proverbs 3:5, my beloved child, I am the one who sees the end from the beginning. You only need to continue walking with me day by day. I know you have felt the swirling winds around you, invisible pressures, voices that shake your heart, and trials that make you feel as though you are about to lose your direction. But my child, do not turn your face away from the battle. Look directly at it with the eyes of faith. I have given you spiritual authority to stand firm in the storm. Therefore, rebuild the walls of truth around your mind. Reject the whispers that say everything is over. No, my child, this is not the end of your life. This is only a turning point I am using to lead you into a place deeper, stronger, and closer to me. When you pray with a burning heart and declare the promises I have spoken, the unseen realm begins to move. There are battles being won that your eyes cannot yet see. There are chains breaking apart because of one sincere prayer spoken in the middle of the night. Remember that David stepped before Goliath not in his own strength, but with the certainty that God was with him. And so it is with you, my beloved child. What enables you to stand firm is not the size of the trial, but the presence of the one standing beside you within it. There will be people who do not understand your choices. There will be doubtful eyes, mocking words, and misunderstandings surrounding you when you choose to walk in the light instead of following the crowd. But do not give your heart over to bitterness. You were not called to please everyone. You stand before me, not before the court of the world. I see the things others cannot see. I see the battle within you, and the quiet faithfulness no one else recognizes. And my child, I am building a firm foundation in your soul through those very silent seasons. Allow the work I am doing within you to unfold in peace. A farmer does not pull a plant upward with his own hands to make it grow faster. He simply tends the soil and waits for the season to come. In the same way, do not force fruit to appear before my appointed time. When the season arrives, the fruit itself will speak louder than all your explanations. Never underestimate a small yes spoken in faith. Many times, heaven moves, not because of great things visible to human eyes, but because of one heart quietly surrendered to me. Every time you choose love instead of resentment, you are expanding the territory of light. Every time you forgive instead of retaliating, you push darkness back another step. Every act of kindness you do when no one is watching is remembered before me. Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. As written in Matthew 6:4, my beloved child, there will be people who leave the story of your life. There are separations I allow in order to free your soul from what no longer belongs in the new season ahead. There will be moments when you are misunderstood even though your heart was sincere. But keep your heart soft. Do not allow pain to turn you into a cold person. Continue sowing into barren ground with gentleness and kindness. For every gentle word and every loving act is a brick I use to build walls of peace around your soul. And if days of warning truly come, do not let despair define you. Let trials teach you to depend on me more deeply. Let the things that collapse break apart what needed to be broken, so that I may rebuild your life upon a firmer foundation. You are not moving toward destruction. My child, you are being remade. Remember that even the Savior himself wept. Tears are not a sign that I am absent. Many times, they are the very sign that my glory is drawing near. My power is made perfect in weakness. As written in 2 Corinthians 12-9, therefore, do not allow your pain to become meaningless. Place it into my hands. Let me turn ashes into beauty, wounds into testimony, and the very place you once thought was the end into a doorway leading into the resurrection season of your soul. My beloved child, my work upon your life has never stopped, nor has it ever reached its end, as you once feared. There were nights when you believed every door had been closed, when you thought the most beautiful things in your life had drifted away like leaves carried by the current. But I say to you, your story is still continuing under the hands of the faithful one. What you call an ending is often only the pause between two chapters that I am writing. Ahead of you still lie fields yet to be walked, encounters arranged by heaven, and quiet miracles growing beneath the soil of waiting. My child, do not let the voice of darkness convince you that it is too late. The enemy delights in planting despair in the human heart because he knows that a soul without hope will slowly loosen its grip on faith. But I am the God of restoration. I am the one who makes deserts bloom and calls light out of the deepest darkness. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. As written in Isaiah 43:19, nothing is too ruined for me to restore. No dream is too dead for me to call back to life. There will come a day when you look back on the road you are walking today and realize that the very place where you thought you were about to collapse was the place where the course of your life was redirected. Not because you were stronger than others, nor because you were perfect, but because, in that decisive moment, you chose to bow before me instead of running away. My beloved child, heaven is not searching for souls that never stumble. Heaven is searching for hearts that know how to return at the right moment, just like the prodigal son in the parable long ago. When he returned wearing torn clothes and with dust upon his feet, the father did not stand at a distance condemning him, but ran toward him and embraced him with tears and mercy. Do you see? My child, my love always runs faster than your shame, and every time you return, I clothe you once again in the new garment of grace. Therefore, do not make your prayers heavy with performance. I do not need beautiful words carefully arranged to impress me. What I desire is an honest heart that opens itself before me. Sometimes a sigh in the middle of the night is more precious than 1,000 lifeless prayers. Come boldly to the throne of grace, as written in Hebrews 4:16, bringing with you every fear, every tear, and every unanswered question. I am not offended by your weakness. I am only grieved when you try to hide it from me. My child, stop exhausting yourself, trying to appear strong before the world, while your soul is growing weary within. Let me become the resting place for your spirit. You are not a victim thrown about by a meaningless fate. You are a vessel I am refining to reflect my light in this dark world. Every chapter of your life echoes into eternity in ways your eyes cannot yet fully understand. There are things that seem very small, a word of forgiveness, a moment when you choose love instead of resentment, a quiet decision to obey, yet they become seeds that change generations after you. Remember Ruth, the foreign woman who, through one faithful decision to follow Naomi, eventually became part of the lineage of the Messiah. Do you see? My child, heaven often writes great things beginning with small acts of obedience that the world pays no attention to. I know there are moments when you feel as though you are standing in the middle of fire and raging waves. There are days when your soul becomes so exhausted that you want to let go of everything. But I say to you, stand firm. If the fire is still burning around you, I am still in that furnace just as I was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. If the waves are still rising high, my hand is still keeping you from sinking. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. As written in Isaiah 43:2, you are not walking into tragedy as you imagine. You are walking into the calling I prepared for you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Do not seek victory through your own strength or through the power of the world. Eternal things are not built through human pride, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. As written in Zechariah 4:6, my beloved child, it is my Spirit that will sustain you when your legs tremble. It is my breath that will strengthen your soul when you think you cannot take another step. There will be times when you feel you have nothing left to offer except weakness. Yet it is precisely there that my power shines most brightly. Therefore, keep your eyes fixed on me instead of continually staring at the storm. Keep your heart open instead of closing it in pain. Keep your soul ready for the new season I am opening before you. I am going before you like the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night that guided Israel through the wilderness. I am not only standing at the end of the journey waiting for you, I am walking with you in every smallest step. And when your strength is gone, I will carry you as a father carries a sleeping child upon his shoulder. Then the day will come when you will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You will understand that not a single tear fell in vain, and not one season of waiting was wasted. Everything I allowed to happen has been working together to create a picture greater, more beautiful, and more profound than you could ever imagine today. And when that day comes, you will no longer ask, why did I have to go through this? Instead, you will kneel with tears of gratitude and say, if it were not for those dark days, I would never have known how near the Father truly was to me. My beloved child, do not think that your journey has reached its final chapter simply because you are standing in a weary season. My work upon your life is still continuing, like a river quietly flowing beneath the earth, before suddenly bursting forth as a spring in the desert. There are things I am preparing that your eyes cannot yet see. Doors still closed, because the appointed time has not arrived, and encounters arranged by heaven that you cannot yet imagine. My child, your future is not buried within yesterday's failures. I am the one who calls light out of the depths, the one who causes dry bones to live again, the one who spoke, and it came to be. As written in the Psalms, the enemy will try to whisper that you are too late, that the years lost can never be restored, that opportunities have slipped away like sand through your fingers. But I say to you, I am the God of restoration. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. As written in Joel 2:25, what you believe to be ashes, I can transform into the foundation for a new harvest. There are moments in life that seem to carry only the colors of warning and collapse. Yet in my hands they become testimonies of grace. One day, when you look back on the road you are walking now, you will no longer call it a day of sorrow. You will say, that was the day God redirected my life. Not because you were stronger than others, but because when your soul trembled, you chose surrender instead of escape. My beloved child, heaven is not searching for people who have never stumbled. Heaven is searching for hearts that know how to bow at the right moment. Just as Jacob, after wrestling with God beside the Jabbok River, walked away with a limp, but carried a new name and a new destiny, so it is with you. Do you see? My child, some wounds do not come to destroy you, but to mark the moment your soul is transformed. Therefore, keep your prayers simple and sincere. I do not need performances of the lips. I desire the honesty of the heart. Do not think you must find perfect words for me to hear you. Sometimes a choked sob in the darkness of night reaches heaven more deeply than long prayers spoken without soul. Draw near to the throne of grace. As written in Hebrews 4:16, bringing every fear, every question, every unfinished dream, and even the things you dare not speak to anyone else. I do not turn away weary souls. I am their resting place, and when I answer, the answer may not come in the way you expected, but it will come in the exact form your soul needs most. You are not a victim tossed about by meaningless fate. You are a vessel I am refining to reflect my glory in this world filled with chaos. Every page of your life echoes into eternity in ways your eyes have not yet perceived. One small act of obedience today may open a path for generations to come. One decision to forgive may stop a river of bitterness that has flowed through many lifetimes. One quiet prayer of intercession may rescue a soul you have never met. Never despise small things. I often use what is small to accomplish what is great. Just as I used 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed the multitude, the miracle was not in the size of the offering, but in the hands that lifted it up. My beloved child, rise up in prayer, in love, in holiness, and in forgiveness. Do not allow your heart to grow cold because of old wounds. Do not let weariness make you forget who you belong to. If the fire of testing still burns around you, remember that I remain in the furnace just as I was with the 3 Hebrew men in Babylon. If the waves of life still crash against you, remember that the one who once walked upon the water is still holding your hand. Do not fear, for I am with you. As written in Isaiah 41:10, my child, your victory does not come from earthly strength, but from my spirit moving within you. When you are at your weakest, my power shines the brightest. I go before you like the pillar of cloud that led Israel through the wilderness. I am not merely standing at the end of the journey, waiting for you, but walking with you through even your most exhausting days. There will be moments when you feel you no longer have the strength to take another step, but it is precisely then that I will carry you like a shepherd, cradling a lamb in his arms. Keep your eyes fixed on me instead of staring endlessly at the storm. Keep your heart open instead of closing it in disappointment. Keep your soul ready for the new season I am opening before you. Then the day will come when you will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You will understand that not one tear was shed in vain, and not one night of prayer was forgotten. Everything I allowed to happen has been weaving together into a song of glory, far greater than your understanding today can comprehend. And when you stand upon the heights of that season of restoration, you will no longer ask, "Why did I have to go through all of this?" Instead, you will bow your head with tears of gratitude and say, "If it were not for those dark days, I would never have known how near the Father truly was to me." My beloved child, listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. The enemy of your soul has no power to create. He cannot create light, because he has never been the source of light. He cannot give life, because the breath of life comes only from me. Nor can he rewrite the destiny I inscribed upon your life before you were formed in your mother's womb. The only weapon he still possesses is deception, whispers that slip into your mind when you are weary, lonely, and vulnerable. He sows seeds of doubt into your heart like one planting weeds among wheat in the darkness of night. He makes your failures appear greater than my mercy. He tries to convince you that a few stumbles are enough to destroy the future I prepared for you. But my child, truth is not found in those fearful voices. Truth is found in the light of the cross, where I stretched out my hands to prove that nothing can separate you from my everlasting love. The cross is not merely a symbol of suffering. It is the eternal declaration that love is stronger than sin, stronger than darkness, and stronger even than death itself. At the very place where the world believed it had witnessed the greatest defeat, heaven unveiled its most glorious victory. When the blood of the Savior was poured out, not only did the earth tremble, but the chains holding your soul also began to break apart. My beloved child, where people saw an ending, I wrote a new beginning. When the world said, "Everything is over," the cross declared, "Grace has just begun." And it was there that your name was engraved upon my heart with a love that will never fade. Remember Peter on the night he denied me 3 times in the courtyard of the high priest. The world may have looked at him as a weak betrayer, but I saw a rock being formed through tears of repentance. After that painful failure, I did not remove him from heaven's plan. I called him back to the shore and asked him in love, "Do you love me?" At the very place where he had fallen, I raised him up to become a shepherd for many souls. Do you see? My child, I do not define you by the moment you fall. I define you by what I see within your soul, the light I placed there from the very beginning. Therefore, do not allow the voice of condemnation to continue dwelling in your mind. If any voice pulls you away from peace, causes you to drown in fear, and makes you forget my love, know that such a voice does not come from heaven. My voice does not lead you into despair. My voice always draws you back to hope. Even when I must correct you in order to save you from the depths, there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. As written in Romans 8:1, my beloved child, I do not call you a failure. I call you my beloved son, my beloved daughter. There have been nights when you doubted yourself so deeply that you could no longer recognize the value I placed within you. There have been moments when you looked at your wounds and believed your soul had become too broken to be restored. But I say to you, no fragment is too small for me to pick up, and no darkness is too thick for my light to penetrate. My love for you does not change according to your emotions or your successes. It does not grow greater when you do well, nor does it diminish when you stumble. That love flows from my very nature, and I am the one who never changes. You may forget me during seasons of storms, but I have never forgotten you, not even for a single breath. Perhaps you have turned away many times, yet I still remain where you left me, waiting for the day you return. Just as the shepherd leaves the 99 sheep to search for the one that is lost, I still walk through the darkest valleys to bring your soul home again. Not because you have been perfect, but because you belong to me. Therefore today, my beloved child, rise up in the light of truth. Put on the full spiritual armor I have given you. Place the helmet of salvation upon your mind to resist every lie. Take up the shield of faith to extinguish the arrows of doubt. Use the sword of my word to cut down every voice that causes you to forget your true identity. And declare with your whole soul, I belong to God. His love is my refuge. His truth is my stronghold. When you stand in that truth, darkness will lose its power over your mind. Lies will fade away like mist before the dawn, and my light will once again shine upon your path, not the fragile light of this world, but the eternal light leading you into the freedom, peace, and glory I prepared for you before the foundation of the world. My beloved child, engrave this deeply within your soul. Every lie that ever caused you to tremble never truly possessed real power over you. It only grew stronger when you began believing it was true. Darkness cannot create light for itself. It exists only where light has been hidden. In the same way, fear cannot imprison a soul that truly knows it is loved by me. The moment you begin believing the voice that says you are not good enough, that you are too broken to be forgiven, that you are no longer worthy of love, that is the moment you unknowingly hand over the keys of your mind to something that never came from heaven. But my child, I have never spoken to you with condemnation. My voice does not crush your soul beneath shame. My voice lifts you up. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As written in John 8:32, my truth is not a chain, it is a doorway into freedom. And the first thing I want you to know today is this: you are loved more deeply than you realize, forgiven more completely than you feel, and called by grace rather than by your failures. Lies do not disappear simply because you try to ignore them. They are like darkness inside a closed room the longer the silence remains. The more they convince you they are real. But the moment a single light is turned on, the entire room changes. Therefore, my beloved child, stop continuing conversations with condemnation inside your mind. Rise up and confront it with the truth I have spoken. When you dare to declare, I am loved, I am forgiven, I belong to God, every voice that once caused you to despise yourself will begin to dissolve like mist before the sunrise. Truth does not need to shout in order to win. It only needs to be fully believed by a willing soul. Remember Gideon in the days when Israel trembled under the oppression of Midian. When I found him, he was hiding in a secret place, threshing wheat out of fear. But I called him by another name, Mighty Warrior. Gideon did not see what I saw in him. He saw only his weakness and limitations. But I saw the warrior hidden inside that fear. My child, I am looking at you in the same way. When you look at yourself and see only failure, I see grace being formed. When you see cracks, I see places where light can shine through. Do not continue living with your head bowed like one condemned. While I have called you my beloved child, you are not the product of old mistakes. You are not the image of failure. You are the image of my mercy and grace. I have called you by your name. You are mine. As written in Isaiah 43:1, let that word flow through your soul like cool water, washing away every lying voice you have carried for far too long. I do not love you because you have become perfect. If my love depended on your perfection, no one could stand before me. I love you in order to heal what is still broken. I love you in order to restore what has grown weary. I love you in order to call life back into the places where you thought only ashes remained. My beloved child, you do not need to try to become good enough before drawing near to me. You only need to return with an honest heart. just like the prodigal son whom the father embraced while he was still far away. I still run toward you before you have even had time to fix yourself. There have been years when you allowed fear to define you. You walked as someone who always had to prove your worth, always afraid of being rejected, always worried that you were not enough. But I say, it is time for you to stop living under that yoke. True power is not found in the voice of fear, but in the trust you place in me. When you believe that I am with you, the lies will lose their power. When you believe that I have not abandoned you, loneliness will no longer rule your heart. When you believe that my love is stronger than your past, every old chain will begin to fall away. Therefore today, my beloved child, walk as one who knows where they belong. Do not walk any longer like a wanderer in the darkness. Walk as one who carries the light of heaven within the soul. When you walk in my truth, you will realize that no word of condemnation has the right to decide your future. No painful memory has enough power to define your identity. Only my voice has the authority to speak the final word over your life. And my voice today still speaks gently. You are my beloved child. You are chosen. You are forgiven. You are covered by everlasting love. Stop being afraid and step into my light. My beloved child, open the eyes of your soul and look deeply. The fire you once feared did not destroy you as you thought it would. The painful days that have passed now remain only as ashes beneath your feet. And from that very place, a new light is beginning to rise. This is no longer a season of mourning and confusion. This is the moment I prepared for you long ago, the moment when a new life is born from what was once broken. You are no longer a soul forever marked by the traces of the old past. You are being recreated by my grace, revived by the breath of the Holy Spirit. Just as in the beginning, I breathed the breath of life into Adam in the garden of creation. I want you to understand this. There are things that must burn away so that the true light can be revealed. There are old layers that must turn to ashes so that you may see the true person I placed within you from the very first moment I called your name. You once believed that fire was a sign of the end, but in my hands it is only a refining furnace. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he will purify the sons of Levi, as written in Malachi 3:3. My beloved child, I do not lead you through the fire to destroy your soul. I lead you through the fire to remove the chains that no longer belong to your destiny. Now, from the ashes of your past, I am planting within your soul the seed of new life. That seed does not come from your own strength, but from the power of heaven. And just as a young sprout breaks through the earth after a long winter, that life is growing within you, even though your eyes cannot yet fully see it. Look again at your hands. My child, the hands that once trembled with anxiety are now being clothed with new strength by me. Look again at your heart. The place once shattered by disappointment is now beating with the rhythm of hope and peace from above. What you call ruins, I call the foundation for the new work I am building. Remember the phoenix in the stories told by mankind, the bird that must pass through fire in order to be born again. But my child, what I am doing is even more profound than that. I am not merely causing you to survive the fire. I am bringing you out of the fire carrying a light you never possessed before. Just as the 3 Hebrew men walked out of the furnace without even the smell of smoke upon their clothes, I am also bringing you out of your season of sorrow covered by my presence. Do you see? The miracle is not that you never passed through the fire, but that you passed through it without allowing it to define you anymore. My beloved child, this is the season of new life. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. As written in 2 Corinthians 5:17, I am renewing the way you see, the way you love, and the way you walk through this world. You will no longer look at everything through the eyes of fear, but through the eyes of faith. You will no longer speak like one wounded, but like one who has been healed. You will no longer love with a guarded heart, but with a soul set free from the chains of the past. Do not fear stepping into this new season simply because you are unfamiliar with the new person I am shaping within you. That change is the sign of life. A seed cannot become a great tree if it remains forever inside its old shell. In the same way, your soul cannot enter new light while still clinging to the old identity of pain and failure. You are no longer ashes. My child, you are light born from ashes. You are the miracle I have created from what the world believed was lost. I call you a new creation, not because you have never suffered, but because I have transformed that very pain into a testimony of my glory. There are souls who will rediscover hope when they see how I restored you. There are people standing in the ashes of their own lives who will believe in miracles when they see the light burning within your eyes. Therefore, do not hide that light any longer. Walk as one who knows they belong to heaven. And my beloved child, if there is one thing you truly need to fear, it is not the fire, not the trials, nor the threats of the world. The greatest danger is when your heart becomes so noisy that it can no longer hear my voice. For as long as you can still hear me, there is still light to guide your way. As long as you can still recognize the whisper of the Holy Spirit, there is still a path leading home. But when you allow the world to harden your soul and you lose sensitivity to my presence, your spirit will slowly lose its direction without you even realizing it. Therefore today, keep your heart soft before me. Keep the ears of your soul open to the call of heaven. Stay closer to me than to every fear, closer to me than to every voice of the world. And then you will see that the light I have ignited within you will never be extinguished again. My beloved child, when you feel lost in this vast world, remember that I am the place where your soul truly belongs. You may pass through many lands, meet many people, and search for comfort in countless things. Yet nowhere will give your heart true rest except my presence. Just as a small bird, after flying through storms all day long, eventually returns to its nest, your soul was also created to return into my embrace. God is our refuge and strength. As written in Psalm 46:1, my child, you were not born to wander endlessly in loneliness. You were created to live within my love. When your shoulders grow weary from the burdens of life, stop trying to carry everything alone. Return beneath the shadow of my wings, like a young bird hiding beneath its mother during the storm. I see the things you have never spoken to anyone. I understand the sighs your lips cannot put into words. There are wounds you hide carefully behind a calm smile. But I see them all. And my beloved child, I do not look upon those weaknesses with disgust. I look upon them with deep compassion. When the whole world misunderstands you, I still understand what is happening inside your heart. When you cannot even explain yourself, I still hear the silent cry of your soul. Let your heart rest in this truth. You are not abandoned, not forgotten, and no longer living beneath the sentence of condemnation. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ, as written in Romans 8:35? No power in heaven or on earth is strong enough to snatch you from my hand. No darkness is so deep that my love cannot pierce through it. My child, even when you feel far from me, my hand is still very near to you. Do not let the noisy voices of the world make you forget the gentle calling of heaven. There will be days when old memories return, like a cold wind blowing through your soul, reminding you of failures, stumbles, and things you wish had never happened. But, my beloved child, do not allow the past to become chains binding your feet in the present. The past may remind you, but it does not have the right to define you. I am the one who defines you, and in my eyes, you are not the sum of your old mistakes. You are the result of an everlasting love that has never given up. Remember the woman caught in adultery during the days when I walked among mankind. People dragged her into the middle of the crowd with stones in their hands and condemnation in their eyes. They saw her sin, but I saw a soul in need of redemption. When everyone slowly walked away, I asked her, "Has no one condemned you?" Then I said, "Neither do I condemn you. My child, I still look at you with those same eyes today, not with the gaze of contempt, but with a love longing to restore you. The door of return has never been closed to you. No distance is too far for me to reach. No night is too dark for my light to shine through. Even if your heart once grew cold, even if you wandered down roads that did not belong to you, I still stand at the doorway with open arms, just as the father ran out to embrace the prodigal son from afar. I do not wait for you to become perfect before loving you. I love you the moment you dare to turn back toward me. The world may tell you it is too late. People may say you have lost your chance to begin again. Even the voice within you may sometimes whisper that you are no longer worthy of love. But I say to you, you still belong to me. Those words are not merely temporary comfort. They are eternal truth, engraved by the very blood of the cross. My beloved child, I have never regretted choosing you. When you lift your head in tears and repentance, heaven does not turn away from you. I run to embrace you, not because you have done everything right, but because you have chosen to return. A heart that knows how to come back is more precious than all false perfection. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise, as written in Psalm 51-17. Therefore today, let my voice become louder than every other voice. When the world says you can no longer rise, I say I will strengthen you. When people say it is too late, I say a new season is still waiting for you ahead. When you condemn yourself, I call you my beloved child, chosen before the foundation of the world. Do not turn away from the grace opening before you. Do not reject the chance to live again in the light. The door of return is still open, and behind that door is not punishment, but my embrace, the peace your soul has searched for so long, and the spiritual home your heart has always longed to return to. My beloved child, let your heart rest in this truth. You never fight alone. When you feel your legs trembling in stormy days, I am the one holding you up. When you think your strength has run out, my power is quietly lifting you to your feet. You see your own limits, but I see what I placed within you before you were formed. There are moments when you think you have only a little strength left. Yet precisely in that moment, my strength is revealed most clearly. My power is made perfect in weakness. As written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, do not stare so long at the darkness around you that you forget to look at the one standing beside you. The battle may be great, but I am greater. The threatening voices may be loud, but my promises are stronger than every evil. No force can touch a soul I have redeemed with everlasting love. They may try to sow fear, but they cannot break the covenant I have placed over your life. They may whisper lies, but they cannot change the truth that you belong to me. My child, let your faith become an unquenchable flame in the long night. That faith is not pretending you are not afraid. It is continuing to walk even while your hands still tremble. Faith is not born in easy days. It is refined in the fire of testing. Just as gold must pass through the furnace to become pure, your soul is being strengthened through every season you walk through. And I have never abandoned you in that fire. If I allow you to pass through it, it is because I know you will not be consumed. When you pray, do not think you are only speaking into empty silence. Heaven is listening. There are movements you cannot see with natural eyes, but every sincere plea echoes into eternity. When you cry out in the darkness of night, I am working in ways you cannot yet fully understand. Doors are being opened, Chains are being broken, and paths are being redirected through a single prayer lifted up in faith. Therefore today, my beloved child, rise and keep walking. Take a deep breath and let every burden of yesterday fall at my feet. I have not called you to live in the chains of the past, but in the freedom of grace. The tears you once sowed will not disappear in vain. I am using them as seeds for the harvest of joy ahead. The day will come when you look back and understand that no pain was meaningless in my hands. I want you to pray not only with words, but with your whole soul. There is no need for perfect phrases or beautiful performances. I desire only your honest heart. A simple prayer spoken with sincerity is more precious than 1,000 words without life. When you open your heart, I will enter more deeply into the places you once locked away because of pain and fear. I will heal what you cannot heal on your own. I will bring back to life what you believed had already died. Let prayer become the breath of your soul. When you seek me, you will find me. When you open your heart, I will fill it with peace. And when you remain in me, you will realize that what keeps you standing is not your own strength, but my presence within you. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. As written in Proverbs 3 gegen 6. Therefore, child of light, walk with a new courage. Do not allow fear to decide your future any longer. Let faith lead the way. Though storms still rise, I remain your unshakable rock. Though battles still rage, I remain the wall surrounding your soul. It is not your own strength that brings victory, but my presence with you. You are no longer fighting in order to obtain victory. You walk from the position of one already loved, redeemed, and held securely in my hands. And nothing in heaven or on earth can take you away from that love. Remember this, whenever your heart trembles with fear, I am with you today, tomorrow, and forever. My beloved child, let your heart become still before my presence. Do not try to fit everything into the small vessel of human understanding, because there are things only a surrendered heart can comprehend. The work of the Holy Spirit does not always come through loud sounds or dramatic signs. Many times he comes like a gentle breeze moving through a weary soul, touching the deepest places you have never dared to open to anyone. Stop trying to hold yourself together by your own strength. Open the door of your heart and let me enter. Let the wind of the Holy Spirit carry away the things you have held onto for too long, the fears that keep you from moving forward, the memories that cause you to look at yourself with sorrow, the regrets that repeat like echoes in the night. You do not need to carry them any longer. I did not create you to live beneath the weight of the past. I created you to live in the freedom of love and grace. My child, I am breathing new life into your soul, just as in the first morning of creation, when my breath brought life into the dust. I am also reviving the things within you that you believed had faded away. The faith that once grew cold will burn brightly again. The dreams you buried because of disappointment will begin to stir, like seeds touched by the first rain of the season. The barren places within your heart will once again be filled with rivers of living water. Do not fear when you feel yourself changing. This is not losing who you are. It is returning to the person I created from the beginning. Layers of pain, pressure, and fear have covered the light within you for too long. But now that light is awakening. I am cleansing your spiritual eyes so that you may look at life through hope instead of despair, through faith instead of doubt. And when the dawn breaks, you will understand that this dark night was never the end. It is the beginning. An old season is closing, and a new stream of life is opening before you. You will walk differently, not because circumstances instantly change, but because your soul has been renewed. Your steps will become lighter because you no longer carry old chains. Your eyes will shine brighter because you know you are not alone. Your heart will burn again with holy fire because you have remembered that heaven is closer to you than even your own breath. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. As written in 2 Corinthians 3:17, that freedom is not merely freedom from fear, but the freedom to truly live in my light, no longer pretending to be strong, no longer trying to prove your worth, no longer imprisoned by the past. And now, my beloved child, I speak to you. I am restoring your voice so that you will no longer speak through fear, but through faith. I am restoring your direction so that you will no longer wander among the noise of the world, but walk in my guidance. I am restoring your soul so that you will not merely survive through the days, but truly live. From this day forward, you will no longer walk as one forgotten. You will walk as one who knows they are loved. You will no longer live merely to make it through each day, but to live in my light, a light no darkness can extinguish. My beloved child, let your weary hands rest in me. For so long you have tried to keep everything from falling apart, trying to control every outcome, every road, every answer for the future. But my child, there are burdens that were never meant to rest upon your shoulders from the beginning. When you hold too tightly, your heart becomes exhausted. When you try to control everything, your soul slowly loses the peace I long to give you. I do not condemn you for this. I know you are only afraid of losing the things you love. I know behind that anxiety is a heart that has been wounded, disappointed, and forced to rise again too many times alone. But hear me clearly, you no longer need to carry the entire world upon your shoulders. I am still here. My eyes have never left your life for even a single moment. Even in the short breaths you take while trying to hide your pain, I am near. Even in the tears you quickly wipe away before anyone notices, I still see them. I understand even the things you cannot express in words. And I am gently calling you to let go, not to surrender hope, but to release the obsession of having to save yourself. My child, faith does not grow during days when everything is easy. Faith matures in dark nights when you have nothing left except my hand to hold on to. There are seasons I allow you to walk through without seeing the entire road, because I am teaching you to trust the one leading you more than what your eyes can see. The very moment you still choose to move forward while your heart trembles with fear, you are walking upon the water like Peter long ago, and I am still there, stretching out my hand before you sink. Do not allow fear to distort the image of my love within you. My love does not change according to your success or failure. It does not withdraw when you are weak, nor move farther away when you are confused. I love you not because you are always strong, but because you are mine. Every time you release the need to control everything, you create space for my power to move. There are things you ask me to change outwardly, but I am beginning from within your soul. For if your heart remains full of unrest, even blessings can become burdens. But when your soul learns how to rest in me, everything else will gradually return to its rightful place. I see the nights when you lie awake worrying about the future. I hear the questions you are afraid to speak aloud. What if everything does not turn out as I hope? What if I am not good enough? What if my prayers are too small? But my child, heaven does not measure prayer by volume or perfection. I listen to the heart, and not one cry from you goes unheard. Do not worry about tomorrow. As written in Matthew 6:34, does not mean tomorrow will have no challenges, but that I am already in your tomorrow before you ever arrive there. You are not walking into the future alone. I have already gone before you. Therefore today, my beloved child, stop trying to hold everything together by your own strength. Rest your head upon my faithfulness. Let your heart find peace in the truth that I am still working, even when you cannot yet see it. There are things I am quietly arranging far beyond your understanding, and the day will come when you look back and realize that what you thought was delay was actually protection. And what you thought was loss was the way I was making room for something better. I have never forgotten you, and I will not begin today. My beloved child, listen deeply to what I am speaking to your soul right now. Fear has never been my voice. I do not plant panic, anxiety, or despair within your heart. Fear is the shadow that constantly tries to make you forget that I am still holding all things in my hands. It whispers that you must carry everything by yourself, that if you do not stay in control, everything will fall apart. But I say to you, you were never created to live beneath such a burden. Fear causes you to shrink back, but faith opens your heart to my presence. Fear says that I have forgotten you. Faith reminds you that I am working even in silence. Fear makes you look at your limitations. Faith causes you to look at my faithfulness. And today, I am awakening that faith within you once again. I see your hands growing weary from trying to keep everything from falling apart. I see your mind spinning with endless what-if questions, with plans, calculation, and worries about things that have not even happened yet. You think that if you do not plan carefully enough, if you do not control tightly enough, your life will lose its direction. But my child, it is precisely in those moments when you grip everything so tightly that peace quietly slips away from your heart. You do not need a perfect plan in order to have peace. You need a heart that knows how to surrender. For there are things that can only happen when you release your obsession with controlling everything. Blessings cannot fill hands that are still clinging tightly to fear. When you let go of doubt, I will place the sword of faith into your hands. When you lower the shield of anxiety, I will clothe you with the armor of peace. And when you stop trying to see the entire road ahead, you will begin to notice the light I have already placed directly before your feet. Do not fear, for I am with you. As written in Isaiah 41:10, is not merely a sentence to read for temporary comfort and then forget. It is a promise that you no longer have to fight alone. I do not ask you to know every answer. I simply invite you to trust the one who holds the answers. My child, I know letting go is difficult. You have become accustomed to handling everything yourself, accustomed to protecting yourself from disappointment, accustomed to holding yourself together so that nothing slips beyond your control. But if everything depends only upon your own strength, your soul will continue living in exhaustion. I did not create you to become a prisoner of worry. I created you to live in the freedom of trust. Think of a child sleeping peacefully in the arms of a father. The child does not stay awake all night trying to figure out what tomorrow will bring. The child rests because he knows someone is watching over him. I also want your soul to learn how to rest like that in me. Not because life no longer has storms, but because you know the one holding you is greater than every storm. There are things you do not yet understand today, but the time will come when you look back and realize that the moments I told you to slow down, the doors I closed, and the delays that once caused you pain were all ways I was protecting you and leading you toward something better. I do not take things away in order to leave you empty. I make room for what is more fitting for the destiny I have prepared for you. Therefore today, my beloved child, stop trying to carry the future upon your shoulders. Surrender to me the things that are beyond your strength. Let your heart rest in this truth. I am causing all things to work together for your good, even the things you cannot yet fully understand. You do not need to see the entire road in order to keep walking. You only need to hold my hand. My beloved child, I know you have lived too long with the feeling that you must keep everything stable in order to have peace. You believed that if everything followed the plan, if there were no more disruptions, if everyone around you was okay, then your heart could finally rest. But my child, true peace has never been built upon control. It is built upon my presence. Peace is not the absence of storms. Peace is knowing that I am with you in the middle of them. Just as the disciples once trembled in fear during the storm upon the Sea of Galilee, believing they were about to sink, I was still in the boat with them. And today, I am still in the boat of your life. The waves may rise, and the wind may roar, but my presence has never departed from you. My child, my love did not come only to forgive you. My love also came to set you free from the yoke of fear. Fear clouds your vision. It causes you to see only danger while forgetting that my hand is still holding you. It makes you shrink back, close your heart, doubt the future, and even doubt my love. But perfect love casts out fear. As written in 1 John 4:18, remember the many times I quietly protected you without you even realizing it. There were days when you thought you had lost everything, yet I opened a new path before you. There were doors that closed and broke your heart, but later you understood that I was protecting you from things that did not belong to your destiny. There were moments when you believed you were alone, but in truth, I was carrying you through places your own strength could never have crossed. My child, every time you choose trust instead of surrendering to fear, your soul opens itself to the flow of heaven. Faith is not merely a temporary, strong emotion. It is the cord connecting your heart to mine. When you open yourself in trust, my life begins flowing into the places within you that once were dry and barren. What you call a miracle often begins in the very moment you dare to believe one more time. Do not think that a person of faith is someone who has never been afraid. No, my child. Faith is when you continue walking even while your heart still trembles. Faith is when you do not understand everything, yet still say, I trust that the Father is leading me. Faith is standing in the middle of the storm while still remembering that I am greater than the storm itself. I do not demand that you have every answer. I do not require you to see your entire future. I simply invite you to walk one small step at a time with me. There are moments when the strongest thing you can do is not to run faster, but to stop, breathe deeply, and whisper, Father, I trust that you are still holding my hand. And my child, I truly am holding your hand. Even in the moments when you feel weakest, I still do not let go. Even when your mind is filled with noise and your heart is filled with unrest, I am still there, patiently waiting for you to turn your eyes back toward me. For the peace you are searching for is not found in a life without storms. Peace is found in knowing that you no longer walk through the storms alone. Therefore today, stop forcing yourself to control everything. Let your heart rest in me. Let me be God in your life, instead of trying to carry that role yourself. And then you will realize that even in the middle of uncertainty, your soul can still find rest, for I am still here, my beloved child. Sit quietly for a moment and look deeply at the things you have tried to hold together with trembling hands. There are relationships you believed you could never live without, dreams you once considered the entire meaning of your life, and plans you built with so much hope that when they began to shake, your heart felt as though it would collapse with them. But my child, ask yourself in the light of my presence, have these things truly given you peace? Or have they only left you more exhausted from constantly trying to protect, hold on to, and control them? Many times you have called control responsibility, called worry carefulness, and called attachment love. But beneath it all, I see a fearful heart afraid of loss, afraid of pain, afraid that if you let go, everything will fall apart beyond repair. I do not condemn you for being afraid, my beloved child. I know you have experienced disappointment. I know there were times when you trusted and were wounded, moments when you hoped and later bowed beneath heartbreak. And so you learned how to hold tightly, how to prepare yourself for every possibility, how to force yourself to stay strong so that pain would never surprise you again. But in the very place you thought was safe, Your soul slowly began losing its freedom. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. As written in Proverbs 3:5, I am not telling you to stop thinking or to live without wisdom. I am calling you to stop placing your limited understanding above my love and guidance. There are doors I close not because I desire to hurt you, but because I can see far beyond those doors, more clearly than you can. You see only the beauty at the beginning, while I see the ending. You see what you desire today, while I see what your soul would carry for many years afterward. If I say, not yet, it is not cold rejection. It may be protection shielding you from something you are not yet strong enough to receive. If I say, not that path, it is not because I want to steal your joy, but because I am leading you away from a road that would eventually break your heart. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways. As written in Isaiah 55:8, you see only a very short stretch of the journey, while I see the entire road. Remember Abraham on Mount Moriah when I asked him to place his most precious treasure upon the altar. Isaac was not merely the son he loved dearly. Isaac was the promise, the future, the evidence of many years of waiting. To Abraham, releasing Isaac from his hands felt like tearing his soul apart. But it was precisely when he laid his greatest treasure before me that he discovered a new name of mine, Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. I did not take away the promise to destroy Abraham. I tested his heart so he could learn that the giver of the promise is greater than the promise itself. And in the very place where he thought he was about to lose everything, I had already prepared a ram in the thicket. My beloved child, there are things I ask you to lay down, not to leave your life empty, but so you may learn that I am the one who provides far beyond anything you could ever hold on to by yourself. You say that you trust me, yet I know there are still places within your heart that remain closed. You pray for me to guide your path, yet you still hold tightly to your own map. You ask me for peace, yet your mind continues building every possible worst-case scenario. You ask for my will to be done, but when that will differs from your own plans, your heart begins to tremble. My child, that is the very place I long to heal, for control is often the hidden shape of fear, while surrender is the flower that blooms from love. When you truly believe that I love you, you will no longer think that I would lead you into lack, only to abandon you there. When you trust that I am a loving Father, you will stop seeing every closed door as punishment. I want you to understand that I do not take away what is truly good for you. I only remove the things you call good that are keeping you from touching something deeper, purer, and more aligned with the purpose I created for you. Some things in your hands are like cracked old vessels you cling to simply because they are familiar, while I desire to give you living water that never runs dry. There are relationships you fear releasing because of loneliness. Yet, those very connections are slowly pulling your soul farther away from peace. There are dreams that once came from me, but your need to control them has turned them into burdens. That is why I do not only want to change your circumstances, I want to change the way you trust. My beloved child, my silence is not my absence. When you do not hear an answer immediately, it does not mean I have stopped working. A carpenter measures quietly before making the precise cut. A gardener prunes silently before the flowers bloom. In the same way, I am arranging, redirecting, preparing the road, and separating you from things that seem necessary but are weighing down your soul. All things work together for good to those who love God. As written in Romans 8:28, not only the pleasant things, but even delays, rejections, and unexpected turns can become instruments in my hands. Therefore today, lay down the things you have held too tightly. Do not lay them down in bitterness, but in trust. Do not release them in despair. but because you know your Father is wiser than you and loves you more deeply than you love yourself. Let my love enter the places where fear once ruled. For perfect love casts out fear. As written in 1 John 4:18, when my love truly fills your heart, you will no longer live like someone constantly afraid of losing everything. You will begin living like someone who knows they are being held securely. Whisper to me, Father, I surrender to you the things I cannot control. Even one honest prayer like that is enough to create space for my grace to enter. And then you will see, what I remove does not make you poorer. What I close does not bury your future. What I ask you to release is not meant to leave your hands empty forever. I am preparing something better, something more timely, and something filled with greater peace. My beloved child, trust me one more time. I am the love that is leading you, and that love will never harm your soul. My beloved child, let this truth reach the deepest part of your heart. My love for you is not a fragile lamp that goes out whenever you are weak, nor a stream that dries up whenever you stumble. I do not love you with the fragile love of mankind, loving you when you do right and turning away when you fail. I love you with the love of the one who knew you before you were formed, who saw both your strongest days and your moments of collapse, and still chose to call you my beloved child. I have loved you with an everlasting love. As written in Jeremiah 31:3, therefore, do not let one failure convince you that I have turned away from you. Do not let the seasons when you can no longer believe in yourself make you think I have lost hope in you as well. When your heart grows dark, I still see the light I placed within you. When you condemn yourself, I still call you by grace. When you believe you are no longer worthy of being lifted up, I still bend down near you with the hands that bear the scars of redeeming love. My beloved child, I have never left you in your weakest moments. When others could not understand your silence, I understood it. When you no longer had enough words to pray, I still heard the sighs that never became sentences. When all you could do was sit quietly in the night because your heart was too weary, I was still there, closer than you realized. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. As written in Psalm 34:18, I am not only near on the days when your faith feels strong, but also in the nights when you are confused, in the moments when you tremble because you do not know what tomorrow will bring. You may hide your tears from the world, but not a single tear falls outside my sight. You may smile so others will not worry, but I see the part of your soul that longs to be held, and I do not come to rebuke that weakness. I come to remind you that you no longer need to be strong alone. When you truly know that you are loved, you will no longer need to cling tightly to everything out of fear. Control is often born from wounds, from the fear that if you let go, everything will collapse and no one will be there to catch you. But I say to you, when you release what you cannot hold, you do not fall into emptiness. You fall into my arms. Your peace does not come from life unfolding exactly according to your plans, but from the truth that I am still holding you, even when those plans change. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. As written in 1 Peter 5:7, my child, wherever fear leaves the throne, faith begins to grow. Wherever you stop trying to save yourself, my grace finds room to flow. I am not a distant God seated far above, coldly looking down upon your life from an unreachable place. I am your Father, the one who kneels beside you in the ordinary moments you think hold nothing sacred. I am there in the mornings when you wake with a heavy mind. I am there in the nights when you cannot sleep because of unanswered questions. I am there at every crossroads when you do not know which path to choose. I am in the breath you are breathing, in the heartbeat still moving within your chest, in the small strength that helps you take one more step through another day. When you hear fear rising within you, remember my words, fear not, For I am with you, be not dismayed, for I am your God. As written in Isaiah 41:10, I do not simply wait at the end of the road for you to arrive. I walk with you through every uneven step. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, when she believed she had been abandoned in a dry and desolate place, no longer able to watch her child suffer. She cried out in despair, thinking no one saw, no one heard, no one would come. But I heard her cry. I opened her eyes to see a well of water in the very place she thought held only death and loneliness. And there she called me the God who sees, because she realized she was never invisible before me. My beloved child, perhaps you too have felt like Hagar in your own wilderness, believing all hope had run dry and no one understood how deeply your heart was breaking. But I am still the God who sees you. I can still open your eyes to recognize the well of grace that is nearer than you think. What you call the end may become the very place where you encounter me most deeply. I see the nights when you hide your emotions, afraid that if others knew how weak you felt, they would be disappointed in you. I see the prayers you lift up while secretly wondering whether heaven has gone silent. But my child, the silence you feel is not proof of my absence. There are moments when I work deeply within you before changing what surrounds you. There are times when I do not immediately calm the storm because I am teaching you to recognize that I am still in the boat with you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. As written in John 14:27, that peace is not fragile like the peace of the world. It can remain even before answers arrive, because it is born from my presence. Therefore, my beloved child, do not believe that I have gone far away simply because you are weary. Do not think I have stopped loving you simply because you cannot clearly feel that love right now. Do not allow darkness to interpret my silence for you. Let me speak the final word over your life. You are loved. You are seen. You are protected. And you are being called back into peace. Lay down your worries one by one. Let me hold the part of your soul that has struggled for far too long. Believe that when you cannot stand, I still lift you up when you have no words left. The Holy Spirit still intercedes for you when you do not know the way forward. I remain the light guiding your path. And from this day on, walk not as one abandoned in the darkness, but as a child held by the hand of the Father, protected, carried, and loved with every breath forevermore. My beloved child, I come not only to bandage the wounds you can name, but to enter the deepest hidden rooms within your soul, the places where you have stored sorrow, disappointment, broken dreams, and even the parts of yourself you believed had died long ago. My restoration does not stop at returning something external to you. I do not merely place back into your hands what you once lost. I also revive within you the faith, peace, courage, and light that seasons of pain tried to extinguish. You look at your losses and believe the story has ended. But I look at them and see new ground prepared for the planting of glory. I do not restore halfway. My child, when I touch your life, I do not touch only the parts others can see, but also the places you do not dare to mention, even in prayer. I know the things you lost outwardly, but I also know the things you silently lost within yourself: innocence, trust, joy, the feeling of safety, and the courage to love and hope once again. And today I say to you, none of these things are beyond my reach. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. As written in Joel 2:5-20, what time is worn down, my grace can renew. What pain has silenced, my spirit can awaken again with life. You once believed restoration meant everything would return exactly as it was before. But I desire to give you something deeper than that. Some old things should not return unchanged, because they were built upon foundations that were never strong enough. I do not merely repair cracked walls, I rebuild the foundation beneath them. I do not simply replace what was damaged, I cleanse, rearrange, and renew so that what is coming will no longer carry the shape of the old past. Therefore, do not fear when my work seems slower than you expected. A deep work requires a strong foundation. What I am building within you is not meant to shine for one day and disappear, but to stand firm through many seasons. Remember Nehemiah when he looked upon the ruined walls of Jerusalem. Others may have seen only broken stones, burned gates, and the signs of failure and shame. But within the heart of that servant, I ignited a holy burden, the burden to rebuild. That work did not happen amid easy celebration. There was opposition, mockery, exhaustion, and nights when they had to hold a tool for building in one hand and a sword for guarding in the other. Yet stone by stone the walls were restored, and the place that once testified of ruin became evidence that my hand can restore what people believed could never rise again. My child, your life is the same. I am placing each stone back into your soul, not hurriedly, but surely, not with outward display, but with quiet power. When I say that I am near, it does not merely mean that I am watching you from afar. It means heaven itself is moving according to my wisdom, even when your eyes cannot yet see it. Some encounters are not accidents. Some delays are not failures. Some closed doors are not meant to imprison you, but to keep you from roads that no longer belong to you. Some relationships change, not because you were abandoned, but because I am leading you into a season that is purer, more peaceful, and more aligned with your purpose. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, as written in Psalm 37:23. Even when you see only scattered fragments, I am weaving them into a picture far greater than you can understand right now. Do not quickly conclude that I am doing nothing simply because everything still feels quiet. A seed makes no sound when it breaks open beneath the soil. The roots of a tree do not display themselves to the light while they silently grow deeper in the darkness. Yet it is precisely in those hidden places that life prepares itself to rise. My restoration often begins not with a dramatic outward event, but with a gentle inward change. You begin breathing more freely, praying more honestly, blaming yourself less than before, and daring to hope again, even while tears still remain. These are the signs that life is returning. I will restore your peace, not the fragile kind of peace that depends upon circumstances, but the peace that stands firm because it knows I am still in control. I will restore your joy, not the shallow happiness of favorable days, but the deep joy of one who has walked through valleys and still found the light. I will restore your purpose, so that you no longer live merely trying to survive each day, but walk as one who is called, sent, and prepared for something meaningful. And I will restore your honor, not so that you may exalt yourself, but so others may see that my grace is greater than failure. My mercy is stronger than shame, and my love can rewrite a story from pages once believed to be torn beyond repair. Therefore, my beloved child, do not fear the hidden season. Do not lose heart simply because you cannot yet see the flowers blooming. I am still working beneath the soil. I am still healing the roots. I am still gathering the broken pieces and placing them where they belong. And the day will come when you look back and realize that not one tear was wasted, not one season of waiting was meaningless, and not one closed door existed outside my care. Trust me while the work is still unfinished. Worship me before you see the results. Continue walking with a tender heart and steadfast faith. For the one restoring you is the one who never does anything halfway. I am renewing you from within, my child. And when the appointed time comes, the life I planted within you will rise stronger, purer, more radiant no longer as the evidence of brokenness, but as living proof that my hand can turn ruins into temples, tears into harvests, and a soul, once exhausted, into a lamp shining for my glory. My beloved child, believe this with the deepest part of your soul. I am restoring you even now, not only in some distant day when all circumstances have changed, not only when you finally feel strong enough, good enough, or worthy enough, but right now, even while your heart still carries the marks of weariness. I am still working. My restoration does not always begin with loud outward signs. Many times it begins with a gentle movement within your heart, like the breath of the Holy Spirit passing over dry ground and awakening what once seemed asleep. I am touching the places you believed no one could reach. I am mending what has been broken, not with haste, but with patient mercy. I am pouring the oil of joy into places once filled with mourning, just as I declared in Isaiah 61:3, that I would give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. My child, I do not merely see the pain you carry. I step directly into that pain in order to transform it into a place where grace bears fruit. You believed the lamp of faith within your heart had gone out, but I say it is only waiting for my breath to pass through it once again. There have been days when you still prayed, yet no longer felt the fire burning as before. There have been moments when you still claimed to believe, yet inwardly you were filled with exhaustion and unanswered questions. I do not despise such seasons. I do not turn away from a flickering flame. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not extinguish. As written in Isaiah 42:3, I do not come to snuff out the little faith remaining within you. I come to ignite it again. My beloved child, perhaps you believed you came to me only for an answer, a miracle, an open door, or a change in circumstances. But what I desire to give you first is greater than all of those things, my very presence. For if you have answers but do not have me, your soul may still remain empty. If you have open doors but not my peace, you may still walk through them carrying fear. But when you have me, even in the midst of uncertainty, your soul remains anchored. When you have me, you possess a wellspring that never runs dry, a light that never fades, and a love that never withdraws. You once believed that what you needed most was to know exactly how everything would unfold. But I want to teach you that what you truly need most is to know who is holding your hand. The future may not yet be fully revealed, but I am already there within that future. The answers may not arrive at the moment you expected, yet I have never once been late according to my eternal wisdom. When you remain in me, every lack will be supplied in ways deeper and wiser than you planned for yourself. When you remain in me, your wounds are not merely covered over, they are healed from the roots. Remember the valley of dry bones the prophet Ezekiel saw. Before his eyes stood a place where all signs of life had disappeared, only scattered bones remained. Dry, silent, helpless, and abandoned. Yet I asked him, "Can these bones live?" Then I commanded him to prophesy, and the breath of life came upon them. Bone joined to bone. Flesh covered them once more, and a vast army stood upon its feet. My beloved child, this is the image of what I can do within your life. Where you see ruin, I see the possibility of restoration. Where you see an ending, I see life ready to rise again when my Spirit breathes upon it. Therefore, do not call your life hopeless simply because it is quiet right now. Do not conclude that everything is dead merely because you cannot yet see movement with your eyes. There are things I am doing deep within your soul before they ever appear outwardly. I am restoring your voice, so you no longer speak from shame or fear, but from truth and faith. I am restoring your eyes, so you no longer see yourself through the lens of past failures, but through the grace I have placed upon you. I am restoring your steps, so you no longer walk in confusion, but in the gentle leading of the Holy Spirit. This is the hour of restoration. My beloved child, not because you managed to repair everything by your own strength, but because I have stepped into your story. I do not stand at a distance like a cold spectator watching you struggle. I am the Father bending down beside you, the Redeemer lifting you up, the Good Shepherd searching for the weary sheep and carrying it upon his shoulders. I did not come to write another chapter of sorrow into your life. I came to rewrite the ending with mercy, wisdom, and my glory. You will not remain the same person forever. You will not always be a fearful soul, living defensively and wondering whether you are truly loved. I am doing something new within you. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. As written in Isaiah 43:19, this newness may begin very small, like the first faint light after a long night, like a gentler breath, like a tiny spark of faith returning again. But do not despise the small beginning of what I am starting within you. Every great garden begins with a hidden seed. Let me work. My child, do not take back from my hands what you have just surrendered, because fear tells you I am not moving fast enough. Allow me to answer in my way, in my timing, and through my wisdom. Allow me to restore not only what you asked for, but also the hidden places within your heart you did not yet realize needed healing. I am closer to you than your sighs. I am working deeper than your eyes can see. And when my work rises into the light, you will understand that I never missed a single tear, never forgot a single prayer, and never left your side for even one moment. So open your heart. Let my presence become your first and greatest answer. Rest in me, for I am restoring you even now. I am doing a new thing within you. And what I begin, I will complete in everlasting love. My beloved child, I see within you a flame that even you often fail to recognize. To your own eyes, that flame may seem small and fragile, as though one cold wind could extinguish it. But before my eyes, it is a flame placed within your soul by the hand of heaven itself. It does not need to begin with brilliance in order to carry meaning. As long as it still burns, as long as you still return to me, as long as you remain willing for my breath to pass through you, that small flame can become a light, guiding many who still sit in darkness. You often look at yourself and ask, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? Am I strong enough to walk into what the Father is calling me toward? But my child, you are using your weakness to measure my power. Stop doing that. The strength I give is not limited by your emotions today, by your past yesterday, or by the words others once spoke over you. I have never searched for a vessel without cracks. I search for a vessel willing to let me pour my oil into it. I never called you because you were perfect. I called you because I know what my grace can accomplish through a willing heart. My power is made perfect in weakness. As written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, this does not mean that I take lightly your pain or weariness. It means that precisely in the places where you believe you are not enough, I can reveal that I am enough. In the places where you see lack, my grace can become unmistakably clear. In the moments when you tremble and yet still whisper, yes, heaven begins to move in ways far beyond your own strength. Remember Moses when I called him before the burning bush. He did not immediately rise with confidence in his own abilities. He said he was slow of speech, that he was not the right person, that others might not believe him. But I did not ask Moses whether he was perfect enough. I asked whether he was willing to go when I sent him, and the ordinary staff in his hand. once surrendered under my power, became the sign through which seas parted. People crossed over, and promises began to unfold. My child, do not despise the small thing in your hand when it has been placed into mine. The same is true for you. Perhaps you see yourself as only a small light in a world that feels far too vast and dark. But, beloved child, darkness does not need to be defeated by noise. It retreats whenever light appears. Even a small candle can change an entire room if it is willing to burn. Even a surrendered heart can become a place where I place the mark of my kingdom. Do not diminish the light I have given you simply because it does not resemble someone else's. I did not call you to imitate another person's journey. I called you to remain faithful to the flame I placed uniquely within your soul. I do not see you the way you see yourself on days of disappointment. You see mistakes, limitation, delays, and the things you wish you had done better. But I see an eternal seed being nurtured within you. I see the potential of the kingdom, the beautiful things still taking shape in hidden places, the light I placed inside you long before you even knew your own name. For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. As written in Ephesians 2:10, you are not an accident. You are my workmanship, and nothing I create is meaningless. My beloved child, I am not searching for those who have never fallen. If I only used people who had never known weakness, then the story of redemption would leave no room for grace. I seek those who know how to return after stumbling, who place their tears into my hands, who rise again not out of pride, but because they believe I am not finished with them yet. Peter once denied me, yet I restored him. David once failed, yet I still called him a man after my own heart. Elijah once collapsed in exhaustion beneath the broom tree, yet I still fed him and continued speaking to him. Do you see? Failure is never the end when a soul still knows how to return to me. You do not need to prove your worth before me. The cross has already spoken fully of your value. You do not need to create your own light in order to be worthy of being used by me. You only need to stay near me so that my light may shine through you. Just as the moon does not generate its own light, yet when it turns toward the sun, it can still make the night sky gentle and bright. So it is with you. When your heart turns toward me, your life will carry a beauty that does not come from your own strength, but from my presence shining through every crack, every experience, and every season you have walked through. Therefore, do not run from the calling simply because you feel small. Do not bury the flame simply because you fear it is not yet large enough. Bring to me what you have, a little faith, a little courage, a heart that still trembles yet remains willing. I know how to multiply a small portion of bread, how to turn a little oil into an endless supply, how to transform a tiny light into a lamp for many people. What I seek from you is not flawless perfection, but sincere surrender. Rise up, child of light. Let me breathe life into the flame within you. Let my grace transform your weakness into the very place where my power is revealed. Let my love heal the insecurity that once caused you to shrink back in fear. You were not called to shine through pressure and striving, but to reflect me through peace. And as you walk in this way, the light within you will not only guide your own path, but will also become a quiet testimony that, in my hands, even a small flame can illuminate an entire sky. My beloved child, now that your heart has begun to grow still beneath the shadow of my peace, I desire to lead you into a deeper dimension of grace, not merely a place where you are comforted, but a place where you are filled, not merely a place where you receive healing, but where your very life becomes a stream of healing for others. There are seasons when I hold you close so you may rest, but there are also seasons when I fill you so completely that what I place within you can no longer remain for you alone. It will overflow through your words, your eyes, your presence, and through the way you love and strengthen weary souls around you. You prayed through nights no one else knew about. You shed silent tears the world never saw. There were moments when you sat in darkness with only a tiny fragment of faith remaining. And still you called upon my name. And my child, I heard every bit of it. Not one sigh of yours disappeared into emptiness. Not one prayer was forgotten before me. But I want you to understand this. I am not merely preparing to answer what you asked for. I am preparing to give you more than your heart has ever dared to hope for. For my true blessings are not measured by the limits of your imagination. You often pray according to the lack you see before you. But I give according to the abundance of my nature. You ask for enough strength to survive another day. Yet I desire to give you a new river of strength to step into your calling. You ask for a single door to escape narrow places, while I prepare an open horizon before you. You ask for a small sign that you have not been forgotten, while I desire to make your entire life a sign that I am faithful. Remember the widow in the days of the prophet Elisha. She had only a small jar of oil left in her house, while debt and despair surrounded her. Yet when she placed that little portion under my word, the empty vessels began to fill. The oil continued flowing until there were no more containers left to receive it. My child, this is how I want to teach you about my blessing. I do not require you to possess much before I can do something great. I only ask that you surrender what remains in your hands, however small, however trembling, however insufficient it may seem. In my hands, even a little oil can become an abundant supply. There were times when you thought you were merely asking for bread to survive the day. But I am preparing a banquet for the season ahead. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. As written in Psalm 23:5, that table speaks not only of food or material provision, but of fullness within the soul, peace in the midst of pressure, joy untouched by circumstances, and stability even while voices around you still doubt. I do not want you merely to survive the famine within your soul. I want you to taste the abundance of my love. You asked me to open a way, but I am teaching you to understand that I am not only the one who opens the way, I am the way itself. You asked for enough light to take one more step, but I am opening your spiritual eyes to see an entirely new horizon. There are blessings you never even prayed for because you believed you were unworthy of them. There are gifts you never dared to imagine because you became accustomed to living within limitation. But, beloved child, my goodness is not reduced by your feelings of unworthiness. I give not because you have become perfect, but because I am a good Father. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. As written in Ephesians 3:20, let that truth shatter the small frame fear once built around your hope. I do not invite you to believe in abundance so that you may become prideful, but so that you may stop living like one abandoned outside the Father's house. You are my child, and within the Father's house, there is not only enough, there is more than enough to share, more than enough to love, more than enough to build, and more than enough to become a blessing to others. My blessing does not always come like thunder resounding across the sky. Many times, it comes like a river flowing quietly, yet without ceasing. It moves into your mind and soothes old anxieties. It touches your work, bringing clarity and perseverance. It enters your relationships, separating you from what damages you and leading you toward healthier connections. It touches your health, your rhythm of life, your sleep, your words, and the way you see yourself. And even in the places within your heart that once became dry and barren, I can cause new life to spring forth. But remember, my child, the blessing I give is not meant for you to keep only for yourself. A river was not created to stand still. When I fill you, it is so that you may become a flowing stream. When I comfort you, it is so that one day you may comfort others with the same gentleness you received. When I lift you up, it is so that your hands may also learn to lift those who have fallen. When I give you light, it is so that you will not hide it under a basket, but place it where it can shine for many. Therefore, do not fear the abundance I am preparing. Do not shrink back because you think you are unworthy. Do not use your past to limit what I desire to do in your future. Enlarge the vessel of your heart. Bring me the empty spaces, the places of lack, the places where you thought there was no hope left. I know how to fill them. I know how to keep the oil flowing. I know how to turn a soul that was once depleted into a living source of blessing. My beloved child, this season is not only a season of receiving back what was lost. This is the season in which you learn to live in my abundance. Not abundance for self-glory, but abundance that testifies that your Father is generous, kind, and faithful. Let my peace become your foundation. Let your faith expand, and let your heart no longer be afraid of being blessed. For what I pour into you will not stop with you. It will overflow, flow outward, touch dry lands. And wherever that river of blessing passes, life will begin to spring forth.